I used to have a massive anger issue. I would fly off the handle. I was a horrible person to work for. I wouldn't have wanted to work for me. I would flip out and I would freak out and I didn't put hands on anybody, but I would yell. My wife said, "Oh, I've had enough of this," and she basically, "I'm going to leave." I was like, I've got something wrong here. So I got into counseling. I got on medication. I started doing yoga, and the counseling and medication were huge because I didn't understand where my anger was coming from, and I also didn't realize how bad it was affecting my business. I lost good people, and it was my fault. My son had left the company. He said, "I'm going to go do something else." He couldn't work with me anymore.
Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast, #1 podcast in Colorado Springs.
Today, we're going to hit you with a highlighted sponsor that has been a sponsor for a long time, actually, since the first episode. In fact, I think was the first episode. Not I think, I know. And our highlighted sponsor is Planet Duct for this episode. And who's the guest today?
Well, we have Mr. Brandon Kirk with Planet Duct. Thank you so much for joining us. This, I think, is your 4th time on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Carry the 4. Yeah, I think about 4 times on the show. And we're so excited. We haven't had you in a little over a year since we had our last office. Actually, the last
Spring
office.
23, I think it was.
Yeah. Gosh, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
A whole lot's been new updates for your business, even since last time we spoke to you. But let's just start from the beginning, man. How have things been going? How did you end 2023 and 2024 now that we're coming up on that midway through Q4? Gosh, of 24.
I mean, 2023, we're actually down. We're hustling really good. 22 and 23 were pretty hard. But 2024, I mean, we're solidly up this year. Got a lot accomplished this year, both professionally and personally, and we're just moving into the next phase of our business.
Yeah, well, there's been a whole lot, and you're a big person on strategic planning for the following year around this time. So I'm assuming you're doing something very similar for 2025, right?
Yeah.
Walk us through how that works with your team, that strategic planning meeting. Is it like all of your team? Is it just leadership? Talk to us a little bit about that too, because I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, it starts with leadership. We hash out, okay, where do we want to go? Where do we want to be in a year from now? What do we want to accomplish? What is the long-term vision? We look back, okay, what did we want to accomplish? Did we hit that? Did we not hit that? What were the things that got in the way? And we plan that out with leadership first. And then we roll out the vision to the team. And of course, you have to have team buy-in if you're going to get to where you want to be and have them be a part of it. And people can, I'm sorry, I'm a change agent. You can either get on board or you can go somewhere else.
Right.
So,
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Have you ever read the book Traction?
No, I haven't heard that.
Oh man, you got to read that book.
Okay.
It's awesome. Top of your list now.
It's a trendy book this year.
Yeah, Gino Wickman is the author of it, but it all that book breaks down is essentially strategic planning, and he breaks it down by coming up, and you already have a lot of these things, right? We're talking like core values and stuff like that, but instilling that with the strategy in the long term.
Yep.
And then how to operate meetings with all those things in mind. So your meetings are like so efficient. I actually have a client who was reading it at the same time, and there's a concept called L10 meetings in the book that's really cool. But it's really dialed in on getting all of your strategy in place, and everything operates based off of once you initially have a core value in place and operating off of that. And it's great.
Yeah.
And every week similar to Start With Why by Simon Sinek.
It is very similar. The thing that they also have is like a scorecard, like a weekly scorecard. It's like, this is like the par number for whatever it might be. Whether for you guys it'd be like, okay, every week we need to get 5 reviews. If we go under, okay, that's okay, but we got to report it every week.
Yep.
If we hit 5, it's green. If it's above 5, it's green. But if it's below that, it's red.
Yep.
And then you just go week by week by week by week. And just at the very end, in theory, it keeps everything accountable all the way through. That way there's no weeks where you're just not doing anything or anything. It just helps everybody get on their P's and Q's in your leadership team. And I found it being very, very effective, especially someone at your level where you're an established business at this point, right? Like you're reaching for excellence at this point. It's not just like survival. It's more so like, how can we get to the next level?
Yep.
So when I hear these things from you, it's just something I'm like, dang, I gotta get Brandon that book, man. I need to bring it to the podcast.
Yeah, I'll have to get that in on Audible because I'm in the car all the time, so I don't have time to sit down and read a book. But I listen in the car to different books, and we've really dialed in our metrics this year. We're working with Jesse over at Bullseye Consulting, and we meet weekly. We go over our numbers weekly. We go over our financials weekly. It used to be I would look at my financials, every 6 months maybe, or at the end of it going, where'd all my money go? Now we're like on top of it. We're tracking conversions. We're tracking, how we're doing as a company. And I'm good at what I do. Jesse's good at that. So he brings that expertise because I know when to outsource things that are not I'm not gifted in that. I bring in somebody else who can make sense of my numbers and help me shoot higher. And that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, it's important. We say it quite a few times on the show. It's not like how, but who most of the times. Once you get to a certain level and you're able to afford the expense of finding an expert in something, you don't have the time. You've worn so many hats all these years.
Yep.
Now you got to be dialed in on being like the true leader and owner of the team as opposed to doing all these little things here and there. When's the last time you were actually on a call? Do you still do those calls every once in a while as well, going out and doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll still go out as I was out today looking at a customer's house. Things did not go well with a competitor who came in. They did not do a good job. She asked me to come out and assess it. And I showed her what was wrong. And we're going to go back in about a week and go fix what they didn't do. Mm-hmm. So when we get stuff like that, I'll still go out on emergency calls when we get, especially animal extractions. We get cats or dogs that get into the HVAC system. I've actually got a YouTube video about that. It's like, what do you do if they get into your duct? Because kittens, puppies, whether they get in there themselves or they have a little help from a kid who stuffs a dog into a vent. I do live animal extractions and, go rescue puppies and stuff like that. So it's that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll still go out in the field.
Yeah.
But
big commercial things too. I'm sure like you check out those ones. You got to make sure everything's going good on those ones. Right?
Yeah. And I'm on the big commercial ones because we just did our biggest commercial job this year back in March.
Okay.
Over $250,000 job. I was there every day with my team, leading them, making sure everything was on point. Because it was an awesome facility and I needed to be hands-on and make sure that we're doing everything the way it needs to be done. Mm-hmm. So, because there's a lot of health and safety issues. If you don't do this job right, you can make people sick. Mm-hmm. And I'm on top of that.
We're going to take a quick break and thank our sponsors.
Storybook Destinations. Storybook Destinations makes planning your magical Disney vacation effortless. From Disney cruises to Disneyland and beyond, they handle all the details so you can focus on the fun. Visit StorybookDestinations.com to start your adventure. That's StorybookDestinations.com.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care. Skip the healthcare hassle with Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care. Direct primary care for a simple monthly fee, putting health first. No insurance needed. Experience personalized care that's as unique as every individual. Visit PinnacleAPC.com to learn more. That's PinnacleAPC.com. Franchise Succeed.
Grow any business with Franchise Succeed. From development to expansion, turning small businesses into national brands through franchising. Start scaling up with a free consultation at franchisesucceed.com today. That's franchisesucceed.com.
Planet Duct. Breathe easier with Planet Duct, Colorado Springs' premier air duct cleaning service. Powerful vacuum trucks rid homes of allergens and dust. Clear the air by visiting planetduct.com. That's planetduct.com.
Epic Eyewear. Elevate style with Epic Eyewear. Innovative designs meet unmatched quality, ensuring a great look and better vision. Discover your next pair of shades at epiceyewear.com. That's epiceyewear.com, spelled EPOCH eyewear.com.
And we're running a special discount right now, Andrew. It's COSBP 15 for 15% off your
15% off your freaking order at epiceyewear.com. We're wearing the sunglasses right now. If you're watching, listening on the audio, definitely check out the video so you can see and check out how epic they are. EPOCH
eyewear.com.
Eyewear.com.
Awesome Home Services. Awesome Home Services provides reliable electrical, plumbing, and HVAC services in Colorado Springs and surrounding areas. Whether you need emergency repairs for routine maintenance, they're available 24/7 to keep your home running smoothly. Visit awesomeservice.com.
Oh.
That's awesomeservice.com. Or give them a call at 719-370-0911 to schedule your service today. Now we will get back to this episode. But I have found, especially like where I'm working right now in some ways of my marketing, that I've been taking on clients that have been able to challenge me in ways I haven't been challenged.
Mhm.
And it's awesome when you have a team with you and they're being challenged in things that they've never been challenged in as well, and
Mhm.
seeing them all excel all at the same point. I'm assuming that project probably presented its own challenges to you where you're like, oh man, like we got to learn new things, or we just have to be adaptable to some kind of challenge and get through this. And you said like every guy on your team essentially had a hand in that project, correct?
Yeah. Everyone in the company was on the job because it was basically it was a mission critical job. We had to get this done. It was for a large defense contractor, and I mean we had to go through. There was a bunch of operational security stuff. Okay, you can't go here. You can go here, but you have to have an escort. All that type of stuff, and making sure. I mean, one of our biggest things is when we're looking at air ducts, we're photographing as we go, before and after photos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in a facility like this, you can't.
Oh yeah.
You're not allowed to take any photos. So it's like, okay, we had to work around and get creative about how we were going to assess. Okay, are these ducts clean? Are they not clean? Without the use of our cameras, which is a huge tool for us. So yeah, there were challenges, and it was we had to get really creative, but we did it. So
What about like if cameras aren't recording? Is that even allowed?
in what we had to do is instead of going with like cell phone cam, we had to have cameras that could not transmit in any way at all. You cannot transmit and have no storage capability. You cannot store the image. You can only look at a live image and say, yep, it's clean, it's not. And then, okay, hit it again. Oh, now it's clean.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we found a workaround, got that approved. But yeah, it was a challenge.
Mm-hmm. That makes me think of the spy movies. It's like the spies coming, the cliche of spies going through the vents and stuff.
Yep.
And it's like, that could that's a security threat technically, So
yeah.
So
and actually they have ways to prevent that.
Yeah.
That is a real thing.
Yeah, I bet.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we've run into that, and that's cool. You just improvise, adapt, overcome. You find a way to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we did. And it was a big growing opportunity for a lot of our team, and a lot of lessons learned, which was great.
That's awesome. Now, when you like learn these lessons, does it go into like some big docket, like big SOP docket of like, okay, like now when we know we go to a military high security installation, this is kind of the playbook that we're starting to build on, just because there's so much that probably goes with that. I mean, you could probably build a whole company just doing for military and installations, correct?
So SOP stands for son of a pitch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Standard operating procedures, correct?
Yeah.
So
We're working on that with Jesse, because we have processes, and we've had processes since we started. The problem is documenting. You can have all the processes in the world, and they're just in your head. You can't really pass that on very well, except for firsthand, unless you document. So we're working with Jesse to help us learn how to document those things, so we have them. We can just grab it off the shelf and say, okay, boom, this is how we deal with this. So that's something it's in process.
And we've done videos in the past of your SOPs for not this company, but for HydroClean.
Yep.
Yeah.
You did our onboarding videos. I remember that.
And those are SOPs, and like in a lot of ways, they're more efficient SOPs because they can. In other ways, having just a book is more efficient too. So it's like,
yeah, but just having it documented is huge. So yeah, we're working on the documentation piece. That's where, unfortunately, most business owners have a problem with that. You know how to do it, but nobody's written it down, and that's it. Yeah, and if I spend all day doing that, I can't do what I'm really good at, which is marketing.
Yeah.
And going out and selling the jobs.
Yeah. And then so HydroClean, he mentioned that. So I think last time you were on the show, you were still like on the board with them because you had sold it and you just remained on the board.
Sure.
Are you still on the board, or have you completely exited that company at this point?
I'm not on the board, but we our two companies still collaborate with each other. We still
Yeah.
They're a restoration company. And of course, I've got a background in restoration. So they call us in to handle the air duct cleaning portion of those jobs. And then we obviously send them a bill for that. But if we're on a job, it's like, ooh, we got a mold issue here. We got, some fire damage in the house. We got, water damage. That's something I don't do anymore. So we collaborate with them and say, hey guys, why don't you take on this part and let them handle it? And yeah, it's been a very good relationship. We work with a lot of restoration contractors, handling the areas that they don't really specialize in.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And we were looking and doing some research, and this is something that was a new milestone that you recently hit, 1,000 Google reviews, which is absolutely insane. Congratulations, first and foremost. How did you get there?
Well, one thing is getting our team to talk to the customers, and instead, don't just go in to do the job and walk out. Hey, Miss Johnson, I'm glad we could come in and clean your air ducts today or your dryer vent, whatever it happened to be. And if you were happy with our service, please leave us a review. And then we follow that up with electronic communication afterwards to say, hey, if you liked our service, please leave us a review. And, it can be on Google or the BBB or Facebook or Trustpilot or wherever. And then we give them a thing they can click on and leave reviews. And I mean, we're religious about it. Every customer gets a request for a review. And then we just have them come in. And the biggest thing is responding to every review. If people took the time to write you a review, if you're not going to thank them for it, that's just like, I think it's extremely bad form. So we make sure we follow up on every single review, good or bad.
Do you have someone helping you with that, or are you replying?
He's like, let me get the Red Bull. And
I gotta get my Red Bull.
Yeah.
But no, I have my son in the office, and he takes care of sending out the review requests. When the reviews come in, I respond to them personally.
Awesome. Nice.
So, because it doesn't take me long to do that, and we can do that. And yeah, our goal this year was to break 1,000.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
now we're over that.
Yeah.
And we're just going to continue doing that. And that's just on Google. I mean, we've got over 250 at the BBB.
Nice.
I mean,
that's awesome.
We just started using Trustpilot this year, and those are a little harder to get. I think we got like 12. I mean, but it's, you gotta spread it out there, and don't put everything in one basket.
Yeah, that's very important because you never can know what happened with Google, right? You can lose a Google profile for whatever reason, and that's a pain.
Or OpenAI can put them out of business.
Yeah, that would be
which is a possibility.
Yeah, we did have a problem in HydroClean about 2-3 years in, and we decided to change our address and on our Google profile. It wasn't as easy as it is now. And when we did that, it wiped out my whole profile. We lost all of our reviews. Yeah. Back then, I wasn't very good at getting reviews. I had 60.
But you were proud of those 60.
And then I was so proud of those 60, and then I had to go back and start from zero.
Oh man!
And it was heartbreaking.
So really, you hit 1,000 about 60 ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
yeah. So not only on top of like being proactive on having systems in place about like trying to get the reviews, you also have to get 1,000 reviews. You have to have the numbers of clients too, because only like 10% probably only leave a review, or unless you're really good at it, like maybe it's more like 25%. But that just shows like you got way more customers.
It's about 10. It's about 10%. We'll leave you the review. And yeah, I mean, we've got a 4.9, which is decent. There are some people you can never make happy, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, she's a,
or some of them, they have their reasons that just it's because of faults, like that they weren't paying attention to the details or the service, and they thought they were expecting something else. And I guess that falls on the business for not clarifying expectations. But sometimes you can clarify expectations as you can go over the top with it, and people still won't know. Like
for sure.
With Marcus's festival, people call him literally on the day of saying, "Are there going to be tiny houses there?" And it's literally called the Tiny House Festival. People's Tiny House Festival.
That'd be like going to the Wing Festival. Like, hey, is there wings?
So it's like,
the best of West Wing
clearest
Fest
day, and you still find people that will not
and
understand.
it's communication, and sometimes even communication won't do it. You just roll with it, and you're going to get a bad review. The thing is, respond to it and move on. And then if you get a bad one, cool, bury it under 10 good ones.
It also shows that you're an actual business,
Yeah.
because the ones that have 5 stars and like say 60 reviews, usually it's close family and friends, or like the
Yeah.
ones who absolutely love them, they give them to get reviews. And me as a marketer, like we found out when I was at an agency 7 years ago that like most people actually don't click on the ones with 5 that have a 5-star rating.
Mhm.
Because they don't feel like it's real or
Yeah.
legitimate.
It's like,
And
ooh,
so
maybe
like
you're buying those reviews.
correct.
And we know people out there that do that, which
Mhm.
is something we will never do. I want it to be authentic, and people are looking for that authentic. And they look at those. Oh, he's got a 4.8 or 4.7, whatever, something that's less than perfect. What they really care about is how did you respond?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he got a bad mark, but how did he actually? And they'll go read the
Mhm.
comments, and
They'll filter for 1 stars too. I've done that before.
I've done that. I filter
Oh,
for the
yeah.
1 stars. I want to see what's the worst situation they've had, and then how did they respond to it?
Yeah.
They respond good, or did it get nasty? When
Or was
you
this
don't ever
customer
want-
just obviously, like irate or whatever?
Yeah, and some people are just going to have a bad day,
Mm-hmm.
and it is what it is.
I had a 1-star at one of my festivals back in 2019, and it was something that was, well, this is what happened. They went to, if you can believe it or not, there's 2 tiny house festivals in Colorado. They went to the other festival, didn't have a great experience, and then left it on my festival, Google. And so when I respond to their 1-star, I verified and actually validated the concerns. Like those are legit concerns, but just letting you know this is a different festival. And then they end up turning around and leaving us they never even went to our festival, but they left us a 5-star review. So sometimes validating people's
Mhm.
concerns is all they need. I've also had it where they have been
Mhm.
to my festival and I validated their concerns, and then they went up and left a 4 or 5-star review after I validated and said, hey, I'm going to be accountable for whatever you might have gone through,
Yep.
X, Y, and Z. Thanks so much for at least giving us some feedback. That's what makes us better. We're not going to be bitter. We're going to be better in everything that we
Yep.
do. And they're like, they appreciate that. So it's great that
Yeah.
you respond back to that. It's so important. I also used to do after my festival, and this was like my old tactic back in the days. I was like, how do we do? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up. If someone clicked thumbs up, it went to Google. If they
Mhm.
clicked thumbs down, it went to a private Google form
Mhm.
where they can send whatever novel of complaints they can, but I can validate and verify their concerns
Yep.
privately as opposed to on Google.
Yeah.
And that helped mitigate a lot of whatever, because you're going to get them, no matter
Yep.
what you do, especially in the event industry. Like
Oh yeah.
too many people, too little people, too hot, too cold, too windy, whatever it might be. We live in
Yep.
Colorado, right? So it's just like, that's kind of how we went through and had some techniques with it. But like, again, I couldn't even imagine like 1,021 reviews, man. Again, you're not including the Better Business Bureau or Trustpilot or any of those things.
Mhm.
That's one heck of a milestone. Is there other people in your industry that have something like that amount? Or are you like, now you're pretty much ahead of most people?
I'm ahead of most people. I
Uh-huh.
mean, there are some people. I've got some competitors that also do carpet cleaning
I bet to say
And-
most of your competitors, you're like the only one that specializes in ducts.
and
I think.
just ducts.
yeah.
I'm the only one who just specializes in air ducts with that many reviews here in Southern Colorado. Denver, we've got some great companies up there. I mean, people I actually used to hire back when I was doing restoration up in Denver. There's good companies up there. They're on par with what we do. And yeah, the cool thing is we all get along.
Mhm.
Those of us who have been in it, we're like, we don't throw shade. So, because nobody's got time for that.
Mhm.
It takes one to know one too. They probably
Yeah.
know. I mean, longevity and everything that you've accomplished. And speaking of what you accomplished, I tried to write it down and made sure I got it. It's IICRC, right?
Yeah.
Explain to our viewers at home what that is. It's an incredible accomplishment, and you said it took you around 14 years to accomplish this.
14 years. The group is called the Institute for Inspection, Cleaning, and Restoration Certification, or the IICRC. Anyone who's in restoration, carpet cleaning, anything like that, dealing with water, fire, mold, is going to be certified by the IICRC. But you have what are called master tracks, where I become you have a journey, you work and become a journeyman, then you become a master. Well, yeah, I became what's called a triple master this year. I have a master certification in fire and smoke damage restoration. I have a master certification in water damage restoration, which includes mold. I've got a master certification in textile cleaning. So it's everything from upholstery, fabrics, carpet. When there's only 3.7% of anyone who's certified in the IICRC who ever becomes a triple master.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a big thing I wanted to accomplish. And now with on top of that, my certifications to the National Air Duct Cleaners Association, I'm now the only air duct cleaner in Southern Colorado who is actually in the whole state of Colorado, who is a NADCA certified ventilation inspector and an IICRC triple master. There's no one else.
What does that mean?
That basically means that when it comes to cleaning and restoration, it's the equivalent of having a PhD.
Yeah, but what are some things that applies to? Like, how does that separate you from someone without that?
Well, it means that when I go to work with a restoration company, I know things to watch for that other people in either restoration or air duct cleaning just wouldn't put together. I know how to dry out a structure. I know where to look in a system if we suspect there's going to be microbial growth or mold or something. I know the most likely places to find it in a ventilation system.
Okay.
Wow.
And so when we partner with these other companies, I know how to do fire damage restoration. So when I partner with a fire damage restoration company to handle the air duct portion of it, I have more certifications than even they do. So they know Brandon knows what he's doing here. And they just like, do what you're going to do, man. And they're going to choose me over anyone else.
It builds that trust.
Because and they're like, wow, I did a big job, and we did it for a national restoration company where they roll in these big semis. I rolled into that job, and I had more certifications than their whole team combined, and more field experience.
You're basically undeniable when it comes to that stuff. Like there's someone can't deny your ability to get the job done because it's just undeniable.
Yeah.
So do you get a cool trust badge to throw on the website for that? What does that entail, like as far as credentials go?
Well, I've got new credentials, and now and they're back at my office. There's a card that lists your credentials on there, and instead of having a silver card, I've now got a gold card.
Nice.
And only triple, only people with master designations get the gold card.
Nice.
So I'll be putting that up.
So
on
you
the
know
website.
how your fleets, they're named after starships.
Yes.
I say fleet, but what's the word I'm looking
Vans?
for?
My airships.
Your airships. So you gotta have uniforms, and then your uniforms can have the badges on them, and you could have like different employees with different like star stripes or something like that.
Yeah, well, we do have different patches for different stuff like ventilation maintenance technician. There's a patch for that. And
nice.
Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff like that.
Sweet. Yeah.
What's the and for folks viewing at home, like you have a lot of fun with your brand, obviously Planet Duct, and then all the vans we talked about this on previous episodes, like they all have different names, right? To the vans. And why incorporate somebody like the nerdy fun into like your business? Like what does that do for you, and what does that do for the culture of the company?
Well, I want to have a fun culture, and obviously I love everything that's nerdy. Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Space 1999, everything Marvel. I mean, anime. Of course, I love anime as well. So I like to incorporate that stuff. I mean, we've got cardboard cutouts of Star Wars characters all over our shop now, and big old Battlestar Galactica thing hanging on the wall. I mean, the stuff is everywhere. We're surrounded by things that kind of make us happy, and we enjoy that. The customers enjoy. They read my business card, and it says, Brandon James Kirk, Captain, on my card, and they see our trucks, and they're like, oh hey. They always remember who we are. I mean, that's a big thing. They're like, oh yeah, those space guys. Yeah. And then people say, oh yeah, that's Planet Duct. And so I decided when I had HydroClean, it was all business. Now I'm like, I want to enjoy my company and my brand, and I want to play with it a little bit, and I want it to be out there and silly and fun. And not all super serious all the time, because I mean otherwise it's just a daily grind. Okay, just come in here and do your work. No, I want to have fun. I want my staff to have fun, and people seeing our trucks. Oh, dude, check that out. Because when they see they got the name of the starship on the back of our truck, and it's got the actual whole number from whatever show it came off of or whatever video game. Like we got stuff from Halo. And
that's awesome.
Oh yeah. So I just wanted to have fun. And of course, mom's like, well, that's not very professional. I'm like, well, I'm older now. I'm tired of professional all the time. I want to enjoy myself. And if you can't have fun at work, why are you even working?
And your work shows for it too. So
Yeah.
it's like, it's like you can feel it's not professional, but you guys prove that it is professional.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. You can have fun and get the job done at the same time.
mm-hmm.
And plus, cool thing is all my nerd stuff that I buy is a write-off.
Yeah.
It's part of my branding.
Oh, nice. There you go. That's a nice little loophole. Right
Yes,
there.
it is.
And like that's cool too, because it could not only attract not good employees, but employees that kind of share a similar kind of love that you do too as well, and that helps build culture. But it also, it's like I could see it potentially, like, this is the day and age we live in with social media and all this stuff. We live in an era where people want to buy things that they can connect to. So it's like maybe some 33-year-old dude who has a family and has a house and is like, he needs some of your guys' services, and he sees that truck and he sees that there's the Halo on the side, and he played Halo growing up and all that stuff, and like it's that little thing that may have been the ultimate decision why he reached out to you instead of someone else. It's like, and so it kind of builds in that aspect of audience as well too, and like that. It just makes that segment of that audience easier to buy in because it builds that trust and like factor. Because they'll know, like, and trust aspect. So
Exactly.
it helps build that into a certain demographic for sure. I'm sure.
Yeah. And if there are other people, they could care less.
Yeah, exactly. Most people probably don't.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But for those who connect with it, they're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. It's more than just a company. So yeah. It's cool. It's
How
good-
many of
cool
your
we have
employees
this
do you
with
make call you Captain Kirk? Be honest.
Oh, I don't.
it.
No, I don't make them do that.
Yeah.
But when I, when I go out to a job site and I've got my hard hat on, it's got, it's got a Starfleet logo on it. It's got
Nice.
it says Captain on it.
That's cool.
So yeah, I have fun with it, whether anyone else does or not.
That's
Mhm.
cool, man.
So, but yeah, I'm not going to make them call me Captain.
No, that's
So.
that's cool though. You have the name with it though. We like to take a quick moment and thank our sponsors.
Celebrity DJ.
Celebrity DJ, where you get your events your way. Weddings, corporate events, and more. Let Celebrity DJ be your director of fun. Winner of WeddingWire.com's Couple Choice Award year after year with over 100 5-star reviews. Let Celebrity DJ bring your vision for your special event to life. Online at celebrity-dj.com.
That's celebrity-dj.com.
Home Day.
Enhance your company's benefit package with Home Day. Home Day offers innovative real estate solutions that make home ownership simpler and more accessible for your employees. Discover how Home Day can add value to your benefits program at gethomeday.com.
Neon Pig Creative. Bring brands to life with Neon Pig Creative. Dazzling designs and strategic marketing make businesses stand out. Spark creativity at neonpigcreative.com. That's neonpigcreative.com.
Exponential Impact. Fuel startup success with exponential impact, mentorship, resources, and support available to amplify impact. Join a community of change makers at exponentialimpact.com.
That's exponentialimpact.com. Fast Signs. Fast Signs can help you with all your signage and visual marketing needs. Whether you're starting a new business or just need a signage refresh, let Fast Signs help you. Make your statement. That's fastsigns.com. Cars Helping Charities.
Cars Helping Charities is a turnkey fundraising solution for nonprofits. Cars Helping Charities allows your nonprofit to accept vehicle donations, which are sold, and then the funds go to the organization. CHC is partnering with my nonprofit of choice, Mattersville, to help them raise funds through vehicle donations. Please consider donating your car to support Mattersville. CHC will pick up any car, an old clunker you have sitting in your driveway, or a car you just don't feel like selling anymore. Make sure to visit carshelpingcharities.org. That's carshelpingcharities.org. Dream Accounting Solutions. Dream Accounting Solutions provides expert outsource accounting and CFO services to include bookkeeping, payroll, and financial consulting to help you take control of your business finances.
Whether you're a small business or an entrepreneur, their tailored services keep your finances in check. Visit dreamaccountingsolutions.com to schedule your consultation and simplify your financial future. Now let's get back to the show.
We also had, I think we've referenced this on previous episodes with you too. We had High Five Plumbing, which is like a very, they're very similar to you and what they're doing, but with plumbing up in Denver, and they're awesome. But a lot of their stuff is baseball themed. So when Andrew and I went up to his, because he had recently moved into a new location last year, There was this awesome freaking location. Me and Andrew were blown away.
Cool spot, yeah.
And like the branding behind that, I mean, like their business cards are baseball cards.
Oh, nice.
And so it has like the whole like batting cage look and pose for it.
That's
And it's
sick.
just so awesome. And then they have like a mural with
Mhm.
like a animated employee, and it's like this is the dress code, code. And it's like tucked in shirt, and like they have
They
like,
have
their
fun
uniform.
with it too.
And they have a lot of fun with it, and you can tell everybody kind of accepts that culture or wants to better that culture because they buy into it, right? And it's just like it works. These are some of the best companies I know, and they all are doing the same thing, right? And so,
Wow,
how do you attribute like? It's just so cool that I mean, you're right. Like we all get into this, and then we get too serious about it because it's our livelihoods, it's our money source. There's so much tied to it, our identity, and all these different things. But you do eventually get to a point where you're like if I'm not gonna have fun with this, I'm not gonna have fun at all because I'm dedicating so much of my life into this thing. Like I might as well bring my flavor into this thing, or it's just not worth it, right?
Yep. Well, once you get out of survival mode, and you learn to work in abundance, then you're like, oh, I can afford to be silly. I don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I'm going to offend somebody. If they may not like what I'm doing, and I'm going to lose business, and then, how am I going to survive and pay the mortgage? But once you can get past that, operate in abundance, and realize, oh my gosh, there is so much money out in this community. All you have to do is go out and ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people are literally, they have money burning a hole in their pocket. They're going to spend it with somebody. They might as well spend it with us. So once you get that shift in your mindset, it's like, yeah, I can afford to have fun with my company. And I'm not worried about if somebody likes or doesn't like my brand. If they don't like my brand and they want to use somebody else, well, they probably weren't my ideal client anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do that when you're operating in scarcity and you're operating in fear.
Yeah, it's also not like your brand is like super out there either. Like
No.
it still has a professional feel to it, I think,
Yeah.
So
It's not off-putting at all, I would say.
It's not like it's a middle finger on the logo or something like
Yeah.
that.
No, that would not fly.
Yeah.
That would not be good. Yeah, I've seen some companies like that, and it's like,
Yeah.
It's a little too much. It's a little too
you really want to do that?
Yeah. There's a company like actually it's in town, and I was just on Google Maps and I happened to see it like because it was right next to where I was searching. It was called Jacob's Ladder.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's a dick piercing. That's a name for maybe it means something else too, but it was called, it's called
Wow.
maybe it was just a coincidence, but they do
Wow.
something, and like they had like a bunch of like hundreds of reviews too, so
Yeah.
they've been around for a little bit, but it, like still work for them. But I think Jacob's Ladder is like
It is.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so,
Okay. I
Yeah.
would never knew that.
yeah.
I'm kind of glad.
I'm sure most of their customers don't know that either.
Yeah. Well, like in town, there's a name of a mechanic shop. It's called A-Hole's Garage, except they
Yeah.
say the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah. It's Hole's Garage. And the guy, I mean, I actually took some vehicles there once, and he does decent work. But
Yeah.
it is like, okay, that a little further than I would want to take my brand,
So-
but all right, more power to you.
There's-
Capitalism,
There's a local excavation company.
Yeah.
Their slogan is "Our goal is your hole," and
Oh, boy. That's pretty bad.
Well, that's pretty terrible.
Yeah,
And
it
it's
is.
on their trucks. Like I've seen it driving like around multiple
Oh
places.
my
Actually,
gosh.
seen it out in Mattersville actually for the second time, but I seen one like driving off of Woodman or something like that. And it's like
Yeah.
their slogan, big on their truck. Our goal is your hole.
Wow.
But it gets people talking about them too.
Yeah,
so I
it does.
guess-
It does.
Yeah.
Maybe some people not in a good way. Maybe just like it might attract the right people for them too. So
Yep.
who knows?
See, there you go. Yours not off-putting at all.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about my brand now.
Yeah, you should. That's crazy, man. I was gonna talk to you about this because like a lot of like, especially the past few interviews we've had with you, like there's been a lot of great things happening. Boom, 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 boom,
Yep.
boom. But oftentimes we don't talk about, some of the valleys in the business and some of the things that like I have found for me, like I've had like some times where I'm rolling, man. Like 3 years ago, I had a great time when I was rolling in my festival and my business. And I was like, man, I'm never going back because I'm rolling. And
Yep.
my confidence at a level, and business has a way, just like in life,
Yep.
of really humbling you
Yes.
in the most crazy ways, but it does. And there's a lot of humility that goes to running a business. If you've been around and doing it long enough,
Mhm.
everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Talk about a little bit about those and like those kind of character building moments for, let's just talk about just Planet Duct or just your career in general, because you've been doing this for a
Wow.
long time.
I think it ties a lot into how where you are in your life is where you're at in your business. And in the last 2 years, I've had a massive transformation personally that has changed my business completely. I mean, and I'm transparent with everyone about this. I don't even care if they know. But yeah, I used to have a massive anger issue, and I would fly off the handle. I was a horrible person to work for. I wouldn't have wanted to work for me. I would flip out and I would freak out, and I didn't put hands on anybody, but I would yell. And I mean, it was like I was outside of myself watching this happen, going powerless to stop it. And then my wife said, "Oh, I've had enough of this," and she basically, I'm going to leave. And she did leave, but then she came back. But I was like, I've got something wrong here. So I went and I got into counseling. I got on medication. I started doing yoga, and the counseling and medication were huge because I didn't understand where my anger was coming from. And I also didn't realize how bad it was affecting my business. I lost good people, and it was my fault. But I got counseling, got the meds, and everything just got so much, things that would normally set me off no longer do. But it's because I didn't understand where anger was coming from. I was like, why am I angry? I don't even understand why I'm angry. And there was some stuff from childhood and stuff that I didn't deal with. But the big issue was I came to understand that anger's not anger. Anger is a symptom of fear. And I was operating in fear because, like, okay, what if my technician does this? What if somebody says something that gets me sued? And it all took me back when I was homeless. I lost everything after 9/11. I mean, everything. We went bankrupt, ended up homeless, the whole deal. And anytime somebody jeopardized my company, my livelihood, my income, I would freak out and get extremely angry. And that was all coming from fear. And that's because I was operating in scarcity instead of abundance. And once I learned to understand where my anger was coming from, it goes away. But now that we've got that under control, the whole culture of our company has changed. We have a great team. We all get along. We talk things out if there's issues. And there's no yelling in my company. Nobody freaking out, worrying about stuff, because I don't fear for my company. I don't fear for my livelihood because now I understand everything's under control. There may be setbacks, and now that I've got meds, I can control how I respond to things. And my son had left the company. He said, I'm going to go do something else. He couldn't work with me anymore. And then once I got all this sorted out, started counseling and everything else, and began to transform the company, he said, I think I'm ready to come back. And even when he came back, it was a culture shock for him, just how mellow our workplace has become and how supportive it is now compared to how it used to be. So I would say, as far as the pitfalls, I mean, yeah, that was a pitfall, both personally and professionally, that I finally got help for and figured out what was going on. And now our company is doing extremely better. And now, of course, we're working with people like Jesse so that we are being intentional about our success and not just stumbling into it. So, because for a long time we were doing great, and we're doing awesome, and revenue is great. But honestly, a lot of it was luck and I guess stubbornness. It wasn't intentionality about being successful. Now it is.
Yeah, because the clock is right twice a day. A broken clock is right twice a day. So
yep,
you could keep that, but if you're fixed, you could be right more than twice a day.
Yeah, but long term, the way things were running, it wasn't sustainable. And now it's extremely sustainable, extremely, we're really excited about the future now.
Yeah.
And now I'm the kind of boss that I would want to work for.
For sure. And
So
as a leader, you set that tone too. So if you're flying off the hinges, or if you're yelling at someone below you, your manager, whoever that sees that, they're going to be more likely to do that too as well, or be on a job and yell at you at the same time. It's like that happens because I know I love my brother, but when I worked with him, he had an anger issue as well too, and he would be flipping out on job sites, like on customers' roofs.
yeah, no, you can't.
Yeah, and then like I don't really vibe that way. Like that's not my natural pace, but like being around that all day, every day, like I would slip into that too sometimes too. And like just being around it. So
well, the hard part about that is people were afraid to bring anything to me.
Yeah,
if there was a problem,
too,
they couldn't be honest with me. They couldn't bring problems to me. Somebody would break something. Tools get broken. Things happen. Nobody would be honest about. Everyone would be like, "Oh, we better hide this. We better cover it up. Don't tell anyone because we don't want to get yelled at."
And then you have an issue that just
and then
stays unresolved.
Yeah, and they're like, "Well, I come out and I find a whole bunch of broken stuff from a job." Like, "Oh, what? Why didn't you guys tell me it's broken?" Well, why? Because it's not safe for us to tell you anything.
Right.
That's why.
They're walking on eggshells.
Yeah, and that's no way to work. That's no way to live. There's no way to do business. And so I would say that's been the biggest pitfall over the last several years. But now, personally and professionally, I'm in a much better place. So I'm seeing where we can go.
That's a beautiful spot to be in, friend. And it's like, I think oftentimes we forget it, but like when you're in the muck and you're just trying to survive, it's so hard to be introspective or even retrospective about the good times because you're just trying to survive.
Yeah.
But when you get to the other side, it is important, I feel like, to look back and be like, man, like my worst days today, or I could only dream for in the past, as far as, what I went through in the past, homelessness, all the different things you're talking about, personal life and all those things. It's such a challenge, but now you're able to look back and kind of get the gold nuggets of different situations and get wisdom from that. I wanted to talk to you about this because we talked about this in previous interviews about like the value of mentors and coaches, because like now you have all the wisdom and you have all the knowledge and you have all the experience. And so now you can be like, okay, now there's intentionality and like that gets put into the strategy now because you have all this experience, you know how to strategize now. But like in the beginning, you don't have any of those skills. And it's so hard to do that unless you're able to hack someone else's expertise or wisdom or some kind of coach's advice. So talk to our viewers at home, like the importance of like getting that advice or coach and hacking those 10,000 hours, because it's so mission critical, especially in the first 4 or 5 years of business, or even longer.
Yeah. If you're trying to run a business and you don't have a mentor, you're probably just going to fail. You've got to find somebody. And I've had different mentors for different reasons over the years. To help transform the culture, I brought in Frank Sinclair. Frank Sinclair came in, helped me transform the culture, and he's seen me at my best. He's seen me at my worst. He helped us transform things. So we have a healthy culture now. And then Jesse, I bring Jesse in because he understands numbers. Each coach, is going to serve a different area. One's going to be like, okay, this one's going to handle culture. This one's going to handle personal growth. This mentor is really good at the financial aspect of your company and marketing and tracking your metrics and KPIs and all that. If you're not gifted in that area, you need to get some help. So bringing in mentors right from the beginning when you start a business, or even if you're in business and you're like, I'm just trudging along, I'm just doing the best I can. I'd like to go to the next level, but I don't have the expertise. You've got to bring in heavy hitters. You got to bring in outside help, people who can see things with a different set of eyes, because you're too close to it. And that's the other thing. You've got to be able to have somebody who can help you work on your business, not just in your business, so that you can see the bigger picture.
The guy who wrote that book was one of Marcus's clients at one time.
Wow.
Michael E. Gerber.
Yep. So Marcus had him as a client for Recon at one time.
Yes. My business partner, Brett, more specifically did. But we've had some pretty crazy amazing clients over the years for sure. But yeah, like the strategy is so important. I've been reading the book Traction, but I think I finished it like a month and a half ago.
Mhm.
But you're reminding me, they call this thing rocks, and it's quarterly rocks. It's essentially quarterly goals for all your leadership team that's somewhat attainable. So I was talking about like leads. For me, like I'm their marketer. I have like a weekly rock or a weekly goal I have to submit to them where I have to get over 100 leads a week.
Wow.
And so like they go through the round table and they say like below or under, like, did you get it? Did you not? And I have like all these different things. How much traffic I'm bringing to the website.
Yep.
I need to bring in 5,000 users to, I mean, it's a van conversion company. So it's very popular. Like people love the van life. So, but it's so important to have those goals in place. Cause you're right. Then you're just kind of running blind. You're a boat without like a rudder, right? Like you're just aimlessly going through life without having these goals. And I have found that like when you do them quarterly or some like whatever you need to do, monthly, whatever, like if you make them, and even if you don't hit them, at least you're getting the ball in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important. Now that you can be like you, and years later, you're like, man, here I am, 1,000 reviews, these triple masters certifications that you have, and all the different things. And not to mention, you're also moving into a new space, which we haven't talked about yet either. That's one hell of an accomplishment. So actually talk about that right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been in different commercial spaces ever since we started. Well, first we started in my house, and we moved to a commercial space on Garden of the Gods. Then we moved into a 7,000 square foot facility just off Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
And we were there for the last 5 years. But
so that's what you've known.
Yep.
The space that you've been to, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was a cool space, really awesome. But $7,000 a month in rent. I'm basically investing in somebody else's real estate. So,
oh yeah, that's the big aspect of this new one.
The big part about the new space we just moved into is I own it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I bought the building.
That's so awesome.
And that was due to, landing some major, commercial accounts, and we had enough left over. It's like, I've got enough for a down payment. And I called my commercial realtor. I was like, hey, I'm looking for this. This is what I'm looking for. And because I'm like, we got a timeline though. Cause
is it Tyson?
Tyson Lease.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Foothills Property. Yeah. Love Tyson. Tyson's amazing. He found me the right space, perfect timing. I could move in right before my other lease expired, literally within 3 weeks of my other lease expiring. Mm-hmm. And now, we just moved in. I'm still hanging everything on the wall and organizing everything, but we've got our own building now, and now I'm investing in my real estate instead of somebody else's. So
that's amazing.
Pretty stoked about that. I mean, that's the next phase of growth for us is to build that, and we could, eventually do more commercial real estate moving forward. So
you can remodel it however you want. You can.
Yeah. And we did. I spent 60 hours doing demo in there.
Okay.
Tearing out walls and plumbing and electrical and all that. So, and every day I'm like, okay, if doesn't have something to do, I'm like, here, do this, paint this wall, or organize those shelves, go hang all these certifications and plaques over here.
Nice.
Or, do some filing,
You've got some employees, so you might as well use
it. And we are. So we're just making the space our own now.
That's cool. I'm excited to check it out when you guys get it all finished.
It's awesome.
Nice.
Do you think that helps attribute to the culture, like now that you're able to like kind of stop and smell the roses, in the sense that like you bought this building, like you're creating this thing, and like now it's more than just like, hey, you're moving into a space. Now you're creating the space too, which is incredible. Like they say this old saying of like, for every level, there's another devil. So I'm sure there's bigger things at hand as far as headaches are concerned for your business, because that comes with growth. But like, how are you feeling right now? Are you a man that's like just never satisfied? Are you a man who's like, I've made some traction in my career? Like, where are you right now with everything?
Well, I can take some of the weight off, now that I actually own the building. And I'm not worried about, I'm paying much less now than I was for the previous space. So I get to relax a little bit. But now what I'm doing is I'm moving into another phase with my certifications, and the fact that, I used to be an instructor for many years. I want to start helping write the standards for how cleaning and restoration is done, and how Air duct cleaning is done. So I work with, again, the IICRC. I'm going to be helping rewrite the carpet cleaning standard. And then the National Air Duct Cleaners Association, I'm on the education committee there. And we just got done rewriting the test to certify new new air duct cleaners, and I was on the committee for that. So I really want to move into that space of basically working on the standards, working on certifications for new people, and what they need to do to become certified. Because every standard needs to be updated because things change, laws change, ducting changes.
The hardware and the way it's done changes.
Yeah, the new technologies coming in, and that's going to change things. So, yeah, I want to be part of shaping that.
That's cool. And is that regionally or is that nationwide, the community that you're on?
That's national.
Very cool.
And pretty much, I mean, but we've also got people from all over the world who are in the IICRC and the National Air Duct Cleaners Association that learn these standards. And so, yeah, I've got people that know about me in other countries, and like in 2022, I spoke at the national convention. They asked me to speak, so I did. And that was pretty awesome. So yeah, it's about, getting out there and getting known, not just nationally, but internationally in the restoration and cleaning industry.
I was thinking about that for you, like thought leadership wise, because I mean, you're talking speaking at these national, international events. Is that kind of what you see as well? Like as you transcend, everything what you're doing, Planet Duct will go along with you, of course. But your personal brand sounds like it's starting to sprout its wings and have an international presence. Yep. How do you think long term for that? Obviously, you want to have a big influence, a big sphere of influence in your industry. But does that mean like eventually you're just traveling and kind of giving your insights around the world?
As I move into semi-retirement someday, yes. Going around doing consulting, teaching, writing, and speaking within the industry that's where I see this going eventually. Someday I'll probably sell Planet Duct, and I've got a price tag in mind already. So and
you don't want to throw it out there yet, or you want to keep it?
I want at least $4 million.
$4 million?
$4 million. That's enough for me to move on to my next thing, and do what I want to do next. And then whether I'm actually, I'm not going to be out there, on a truck cleaning ducts, but I can teach, that's kind of where I eventually see this going.
This seems like a very reasonable price, actually.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Especially if it comes with all the assets that you already have.
But it comes with everything except the building.
Okay, nice.
That stays mine because that's part of my retirement.
Oh, gotcha. Nice.
So that's part of phase 2. The building will be
phase 2 is, that's, building generational wealth is the last part.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's great. And how has like the community of Colorado Springs, obviously, like we were having this conversation early last year. Yeah. And you got the, what was it? Was it the entrepreneur or young, was it the business owner of the year award, entrepreneur of the year award?
Yeah. Well, let's see. 2021 was small business person of the year. Last year, and then I got the Prism Award in 2023 from the BBB. And then this last year, 2024, I was a finalist for Social Impact Business of the Year. Nice. So I was up there with people like James Proby,
nice,
and some of the other real Costco medals, and some of the other really good social impact businesses.
What do you have to do to get that?
I guess be recognized for the impact you make on the community, because we have a lot of social outreach stuff that we do. I mean, we work with different groups to help people from becoming homeless, because I turned what I was afraid of into what I wanted to invest in the community. So we work with donating money to places like Fostering Hope, which helps people aging out of the foster care system. A lot of these kids, they don't have any skills. They don't have a driver's license. So we donate to them. But then whenever we have job openings, we like, hey, do you have anyone who's aging out of the foster system that needs a job? Because if we can give them skills, then we can prevent them from becoming homeless.
Which they have a high percentage of.
High percentage. Yeah. Same thing with the young people in the LGBT community. So we work and donate money to Inside Out Youth Services.
That's awesome.
I think today was just 2 years ago about the Club Q thing, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was the anniversary today.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of young people in the LGBTQ community, and they're like, "Hey, mom, hey, dad, guess what? I'm gay," and they get told, "Not in my house." Next thing you know, they're homeless, and they're young.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know where to go, what resources. So inside youth services can give them safe spaces and help them with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a few of the things that we do in the community. And
That's
then, of course,
insane.
different sponsorships and stuff like that.
That's just an insane scenario that a parent would just kick a child out for expressing
Mm-hmm.
themselves like that. It's
As much progress as we've made today,
I
it
know.
still happens. You know?
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, it still happens. And people, I don't understand it. I could never do that to a child. So,
Mhm.
My goodness. Well, that's amazing that you have that impact on the community. And I know the community supports you so much and
Yep.
what you are doing and your mission to, I mean, we had Madeline Costa on here, like Costa on here,
Yep.
Costa on here, like a month or two ago. And she always has the highest praises for you. And just
Oh,
like,
that's
what you've done for her and just not only like business relationship, but just like mentorship and things of that nature as well.
wow.
It's just so cool to see like all of our worlds kind of
Mhm.
interchanging one another. I wanted to ask you this question because I don't know how I didn't remember this, or I don't know if you brought up on our last interview, which was my first interview with you. I believe it was my first interview with
Mhm.
you, about the homeless thing.
Yeah.
If you could go back to that, Brandon,
Yeah.
what would you tell him, knowing all the information that you know now and who you are now? What would you tell that Brandon who's struggling, obviously at rock bottom?
It gets better. Just keep pushing. Don't give up, and find a mentor. Find somebody who can help you out. Don't be afraid to ask for help. That would be the biggest thing. Because yeah, I mean, when you feel you're in a place where you can't even provide for your wife and kids, that it drives you into a deep depression. And the main thing is it gets better. We just got to remember, it's going to take some time. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take hard work. But if you hang on, it will get better. That's the biggest thing I probably would have needed to hear back then.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Would you have believed him if you told yourself that?
Well, if it was me, I like me.
Yeah.
Pretty So I probably would have listened to me. I don't know if I would have listened to anyone else though.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'll be like, oh yeah, you don't understand me. You don't know where I'm at, and
But if it was you, you'd be like, okay,
I was
you're
like-
coming
I was
from
like-
the future.
You're from the future. I think I've seen that episode.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe you.
For sure. Yeah. If you're coming from the future, then you know something.
Yeah,
No, for sure.
Yeah, that's important for you to be able to look back at that. The mindset of Brandon back then, were you more of like victimizing the kind of situation that you were in? Were you kind of like sulking in like all the events surrounding you as like only this bad stuff happens to me? Like, talk to us a little bit about that. But you said the anger was a
Yeah.
big piece to
yeah.
it.
Well,
I think you have to be somewhat of a optimist to see that. Because if you're stuck on seeing the negative, how are you going to see your way out of it?
yeah. I just figured I was going to have to work my way out of it,
Mhm.
and
Were you feeling pessimistic at the time, or?
oh yeah, I mean, I was definitely down. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I ever gonna, fix all these? And the other thing is, I knew it was all my fault. Well, at least that's what I told myself. This is all my fault. Yeah, 9/11 had a lot to do with it because I was in Las Vegas, Nevada. The planes hit the towers
In Las Vegas?
No,
just kidding.
no. But what happened in Las Vegas?
Mhm.
Every convention was canceled
Mhm.
for the next 2 years. Anyone who had put down a deposit with any hotel for a major
Mhm.
convention, canceled. All flights in and out of the town. There was no air traffic for a couple weeks. Remember that? You couldn't see a plane in the sky. They laid off 60% of the workforce in Las Vegas overnight. Well, I was in sales. You can't make money in sales if nobody has any money. Nobody's buying anything.
Mhm.
And I worked on commission. I was in the wireless industry at the time. And I couldn't make my bills. Next thing you know, I couldn't afford our rent, and literally had to sell everything. Everything I had. And I had, everyone knows I'm a shooter. I had a massive, awesome gun collection, and I had to sell it all to feed my kids. And and then, money runs out. Okay. You're staying in the car. Eventually, I found some friends. They helped me get a job, which was awesome. I had a crappy little job that wasn't paying anywhere near enough. But then I talked to a friend of mine, and she said, "Oh, do you know how to write?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." It's like, "Do you have a degree?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've got a degree." She goes, she made some phone calls, got me the hookup, and I became a technical writer. And I was, within 6 months, I had 14 people underneath me, doing test incident reports as a defense contractor.
Wow.
What were you doing before 9/11? How well were you doing? Were you doing pretty well then?
I was doing all right. I mean, I worked for a major wireless carrier out in Las Vegas. I'd been in wireless for quite a while. I mean, I still know how to program all the phones from back in the older brick phones.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I was doing extremely well until that happened, and then all of a sudden, nobody's coming in to upgrade their phone. No one's going to buy a new phone. Nobody's doing anything because everyone was so uncertain about what the world was going to happen in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they thought, oh, maybe Las Vegas is the next target.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything shut down. And yeah, it was just, financially, I wasn't in a place that was recoverable at that point.
How long did it take to get back to that spot where you were doing well again, or at least decent again?
2 years.
Okay. Yeah.
2 years. And
Talk about those 2 years.
it was hard. I mean, scraping by. I mean, after we got out of the car, we were in a single wide in Yuma, Arizona. And I mean, that's where I grew up. But then I got a job working as a defense contractor. And yeah, I was working those 60, 70 hour weeks. Sometimes there was a few 80 hour weeks, just trying to get that overtime to try to dig ourselves out. And then on top of that, dealing with my wife's health issues, which were, I mean, the medical bills, hundreds of thousands in medical, that we had to dig, but we dug our way out. And it was just, yeah, there were sacrifices for me to do. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with my family. I mean, I was up at 4:30 in the morning and off to work. And sometimes I wouldn't get home until, late at night or even the next day.
Oh man.
Yeah. But I mean, we were doing some really awesome stuff for the military, and I loved doing it because it was exciting. I got to blow things up. I got to drive tactical vehicles and tanks, and
nice.
I mean, writing test incident reports and shooting all the weapons, and I love that stuff.
Yeah.
That was lots of fun. And then, that went on for a while. I was there until the end of 2005. And then my wife was, you're 45 minutes from anywhere. You're in the middle of the Arizona desert.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? She's like, it's hot here. I really can't take the heat anymore. She's like, I want to go back to Colorado. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, let's do that. Yeah. And I wanted to come back here anyways, because Colorado Technical University was here, and I wanted to come back here and finish my degree in project management.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, you go ahead. And I sent her ahead. I was working on my last test for a new armored vehicle. I was the only subject matter expert on the project. So I had to stay there 4 months to train somebody else to replace me, because you couldn't just walk out on something like that when you're the only subject matter expert on this vehicle. So I trained somebody up, and then I joined her here in Colorado.
You know what comes to mind? And the reason why I was asking some of those questions is the phrase "winners win." It sounds like it may have taken you a few years, but to recoup. But it sounds like you were doing well. Bad stuff happened.
Yep.
But then you started winning again, and then you came out here, and then you probably had some hardship out here. I assume.
Yep.
But
ups and downs.
It sounds like you've come out on top, though, ultimately, at each time.
Yeah. It just took a lot of hard work, and
but that's why they win, the winners.
Yeah. And yeah, I buried myself in my work. I mean, literally. I probably missed out on a lot of, family stuff. But now both my kids work in my company with me.
You get that time back.
I get that time back. helping them out. Me and my wife are doing great. We got, our farm, we got 25 chickens, and
Is your daughter still answering the calls from the spammers?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. She answers the spammers and plays with them. And
Yeah, we have a couple videos I edited real quick for you. You just sent me the files.
yeah, she gets these guys from overseas, and she just drives them crazy until they finally hang up on her.
Oh
Yeah.
my
And then,
gosh.
yeah, it's hilarious.
She's
But
talking
yeah,
about the aspen trees, I think.
yeah, she talked about aspen trees or the
on
blue
one of the videos.
blue ring octopuses or whatever it is. She can just drive them crazy with on the phone until they finally hang up on her. But yeah, she's in the company. My son's in the company. My wife handles most of the stuff out at the farm. And yeah, we got goats and chickens, and it's quiet out there. It's very calming.
Where is it at?
Basically, if you head out toward Peyton,
Mhm.
you got Black Forest Road, you got Mark Scheffel. Next one is Mohawk, and we're up off of Mohawk.
Oh, I
Okay,
know
nice.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, little 5-acre place,
Cool.
and man, it's cool. So
Pretty soon it's going to be like Centennial, though, so watch out.
yeah, well, yeah, they are going to start building around us,
Yeah.
but which it is what it is, But I'm out there. I'm having a good time. It's super chill. I got my chickens.
Mhm.
I got Mike Schoning's chicken.
Nice, yeah.
So yeah, I rescued his chicken. So
That's
That's cool.
hilarious. It's so important for people to hear these stories because like when they think of Brandon Kirk, they think about all the accolades and they don't understand like the real hardships it takes to be successful, to be a winner or whatever it might be, right? Because
Yep.
it's I mean most entrepreneurs, I'm sure their biggest fear is like, man, if all else, like if everything goes down the tubes, I don't want to go homeless. Like I don't want to do that. I don't want to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that we've interviewed
Mhm.
have gone through all of that.
Yep.
And they still rose up. And
I think a lot of entrepreneurs also, they know the risk, and if it takes going homeless, they're going to do it.
yeah,
Sometimes.
yeah. I mean, yeah, we've seen that, and you do without. You scrape by. You find a way.
Mhm.
Not everyone can do this,
Mhm.
and you've got to find it within yourself. Nobody can find it in there for you. You either have it or you don't.
right.
And you may feel hopeless, and you may feel, man, I suck. I can't do this. And then you sit down, you chill, have a Red Bull, and then you dive back in.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And a winner's just a quitter who got up
Yeah.
one more time.
Yeah. And I think with entrepreneurs, whether they're winning or they're in the losing season, they have to do it. Like it's part of them. Like that's how I feel. When it comes to any business I've started, like it's not about like entrepreneurship or whatever. It's more about like I just have this urge that I need to fulfill, and I'm going to do it no matter what.
Yep.
And like no matter if I'm failing at it, like I have to do it. And like it's a desire that I think is just part of that human condition.
Yep. And so a lot of entrepreneurs, we're entrepreneurs because we can't work for anyone else.
That's true too.
That's exactly what it is.
We can't. It's like I've done it. I don't like it.
Mhm.
And I don't know, maybe I'm a little narcissistic, but I like to be the one calling the shots,
Mhm.
because then my future's in my hands.
For sure. Yeah.
And, if I crash and burn, I own that. If I succeed, I own that.
Yeah.
So
I feel that 100%. Yeah.
Well, Brandon, this is your camera right here. Where can we find you?
Oh, well, I'm easy to find here in Colorado Springs. With Planet Duct Air Duct Cleaning, planetduct.com. You can always reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm all over the place. Or reach us at 719-728-5111.
Awesome, man. Well, again, thank you so much for one, coming on the show for the fourth time, but two, for sponsoring and seeing us in our growth through the years of the show. You've seen us in 3 different office spaces over the
Mhm.
years.
Well, his office space was the first place.
Oh yeah, I guess technically your office space was the first one for episode 1, and like
and 2.
we got to give you
Well,
your
the second
flowers for supporting us and always, just believing in us and our mission and what we're trying to do here in the community. So we appreciate you so much.
Appreciate that. And when Andrew told me originally, hey, this is what I want to do, I was like, yeah, dude, like get it.
Yeah.
And I was so stoked. And then to watch where you guys are at with
Mhm.
as many episodes as you have now, and the influence and the reach in the city and the impact you guys have, is pretty awesome.
It wouldn't be possible without you, and I believe that without people like you, but you especially, you know, like in the beginning when, you know, some crazy kid has an idea and people believe in him, it really helps. It goes a long way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we all need that. Even if you need just a couch to sleep on or just support from a fellow entrepreneur or business, we're all here for each other. And that's what makes our city so special. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if our viewers learn anything from these episodes, it's like everybody needs a helping hand, and everybody needs some level of insight and mentorship. Just gel with the people that are going to be a positive influence in your life, just like Brandon. And like, again, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Well, this has been the COS Business Podcast.
And
we'll
don't
see you
forget
guys.
to like and subscribe.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
All right.
Awesome.